in no particular order. This is just a stack that I have, and this is what I'm going to be doing it. I am doing it on my bed, so you're going to have some wrinkles and stuff. I typically show my curriculum on my beds. Okay then. Okay, this is one that I recently got. This is a poetry book I thought would be wonderful for the tea time, and we've been reading a lot of them out of here. This is one that my mother recommended that has Annie and Willie's prayer in it, as well as other things. And so we just got this, and we've added to it Our Grandfather's Clock. Right now is one of our favorites. I showed this one in my haul, and this is the poem that we've been learning this year, The Arrow and the Song. And we pretty much know it already. And remember, we're just reading it not daily, but mainly on Poetry Tea Time Tuesdays, and we've learned it real well from them. And of course, we have A Child's Garden of Verses. I showed you this one, and we do use a lot of poems from here. Some of these can be kind of silly, and so when we want a little silly poem, we'll pick this up. This is another one that I've seen, and I thought, when I first bought this, I thought this was the poem that I was thinking from here. But this is a little different. This is one that I've seen on several homeschool halls. And you know, there's some poems that we like in here, and what I do like about it is the illustrations, but our favorite poems are typically found in this one. So these are the main poetry books that we have been using with Poetry Tea Time, and the younger ones listen and the younger ones choose, and yada yada yada. Okay, this book, hold on, I'm going to come back to that. Paddle to the Sea. This is another... This is all about the journey of a little canoe that a young boy made, and it starts up in the Canadian wilderness, Lake Superior, and each chapter is just another journey for him to reaching So from the Great Lakes to the sea, it's his journey and how he gets there. And, okay, so there is 27 chapters in here. And that took us a full school year to get through. I did not start it at the beginning, and it has turned into one of our family's favorites. Actually, on the street behind us is a canoe, and when we're on our evening walks, that is one of the number one things that the kids always ask for. Can we go see Paddle to the Sea? And so this was excellent, and we got the Tree and the Trail for next year, and then what I just ended up doing is getting all of them because we have loved them so much, and trying to get them from the library and having them long enough before we have to return them, it was just worth the investment to get all of them. So we ended up doing this past year, and we loved every minute of it. There are so many Pinterest things that you can do with Paddle to the Sea. This is more like a geography kind of thing. There are so many Pinterest activities that you can do. So be sure to check that out. This was not in my curriculum overview that I was showing you, and here is why.
Mom, can you help me do it?
Help you to read? Okay. Okay, stop. Okay, after you saw that clip, my son came and literally in the middle of the school year wanted to learn how to read. And I mean, after a full school year, I think we're only on lesson 20 something. Let's see. Okay, we're on lesson 23 after a whole school year because I don't push reading, and I literally just went at his own pace. And he is doing so well, and he is so excited to learn and to recognize words and to recognize sounds. And so this wasn't supposed to be something that we did this year, but we ended up doing it. And little Benjamin just loves the fact that he can read, and this has ended up being my favorite way to teach reading. I have tried a couple other ways, but this is definitely my favorite. It is so simple, and it literally just starts. Okay, you're going to start your finger here, and then you go slowly. You don't go s-at. You go sat, and then you go fast. Sat. Okay? So you've got sounds that you're just going to keep going over and over. So the first lesson you have and s. The second lesson you have s. And the third lesson you have as. And then you're going to put a sound together. I didn't do all the tasks in the lesson. I didn't work on the rhyming. I didn't work on their handwriting. We just focus on the sounds and putting sounds together. We did do the say it slow and say it fast, however. I did find that to be very helpful. So that's one thing that we did with this, and I'm really glad that I didn't hold him off on it or push him to it. He just did it at his own pace. This was one of my favorites that we did this year. This is from Confessions of a Homeschooler. She has character studies, and there is obedience, diligence, patience, peacemaking, selflessness. We mainly focused on obedience and diligence. I would say those were the two big ones that we did, and it felt like we just had to keep going back with those two. So what I was noticing when I was doing this is that there were some things that the older ones were picking up on and doing as well. I wasn't as consistent with this as I should have been. I will say that. But when I was consistent, it was invaluable. And I will be trying to put this into our daily time next year. Of course, I won't be pregnant or dealing with a newborn, so I'm really, really hopeful on this. I was showing this in my haul. We got through the first book. I have 5 books, and I'm going to be going back through the first book again because it ended up being something that all of the children love, and I think it will be a great morning time type of thing. And it's just little bits about the nature. And anyway, so this is Christian Liberty Press. This is their nature readers. I do like how they do kind of tell it in story form. So the coyote is another prairie hunter. He is not always quick enough to catch the fast antelope. Several coyotes work together and use clever tricks to catch their prey. One trick. So then you've got all this. Okay. So I really enjoyed that. I'm just going to kind of show a couple pages here so you can kind of get what this is. So words that may need a little help sounding out, they are bolded. Kids really enjoy it, especially Mrs. Mudwasp. So there you go. Love James Herriot. I can't say enough about this story. Definitely one that we love reading over and over again. And we did it, and it's just a great way to kind of bring animals to life, especially for children. And these are true stories. James Herriot was a veterinarian, and it's just kind of retelling of some of his adventures in his veterinary life in England. So we will definitely be using that over and over. I showed Wisdom in the Millers. This, again, was probably another morning time thing. We finished it. The children loved it. We did pretty much a chapter a day. There's 25 chapters, so, you know, Proverbs has 31 chapters, so they didn't have a chapter for each chapter in Proverbs. But the children really loved it, and it was fun for me to share with them one of my favorite childhood books. This is the one we went from here to this next one, and this is another book that was very recommended. I kind of go back and forth between loving this and feeling meh about it. But we're going to finish this one up. There's a couple other ones. Again, I just really feel like it's dumbed down. So they really need to put things like this out there that, I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know how to describe the frustrations I have with things like this. I love that. It's just, you know, here's a Bible verse. Here is a situation where you could use the Bible verse. Done. You've got a Bible lesson that they can understand because they are children and these are children are reading the lessons, whereas this is more of a preaching kind of thing. Okay, I hope you understand that. Probably the most favored thing about our school year was doing the Burgess book for children. You did not see this on the haul. I added this later after seeing several Charlotte Mason people recommend it. And so you're reading about Peter Rabbit as he kind of goes through the woods and learns about different birds. Later on during the year, I found this at our library for $2. It is the Encyclopedia of North American Birds. And so anytime we would come across a bird, we would look it up. We would try to draw it. And then I had my son kind of copy the name of the bird on there. And this was just a beautiful time for my son and my daughter when she wanted to do it. She mainly just listened and did her own little princess coloring. This was probably one of the best things that I ever did. They were learning to sit still. They were learning to listen. And I noticed that when we would go out and about, they would ask what kind of bird was it. You know, was it a bluebird? Was it a swallowtail? A robin? There's so many. Hope this was helpful for you, kind of seeing what we ended up doing, and yeah, especially after what I showed you that we were going to be doing. If this was helpful for you, give it a thumbs up. I will try to link in a blog post to all of these resources that I use, so you can go check that blog post out and just get everything in there. Sometimes the links in the description box below can get pretty long. Anyway, thank you for watching. I will see you in my next video. The next video will be showing the next year's curriculum choices, and I can't wait to share some of that with you. And so until next time, bye.